Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Detour Diaries. It is a wonderful, crisp November Monday, and I am so excited to be bringing you this episode. I can't wait to get started. Thank you for joining me. And remember, if you have any questions, be sure and leave them in the chat. I will be answering any and all questions while we're live today. So this is your opportunity to roll up your sleeves and put it all out there and go ahead and let me know what's on your mind. So thank you again for stopping by. And a couple housekeeping announcements before we get started. Remember, we are having a big giveaway at the end of this month. It's toward our goal of reaching 100 subscribers, which is my personal goal that I'm asking you to help me with. So if you share this channel with people, invite them to check out what I have to offer, and you subscribe, you will get an entry into our drawing for a $25 Amazon gift card. I almost said $2,500 Amazon gift card. That's not going to be right. $25 Amazon gift card. And I am really, really excited to tell you that we are actually halfway there. We are in the process of reaching our first milestone of 100 subscribers together, and for that. So my way of giving back is running the giveaway at the end of November. If we reach 100 subscribers, every entry of every subscriber and every like is going to be entered into a drawing, and we will see who the lucky winner is. So before we get started, just a couple of things also. If you have any questions today, please be sure and leave them in the chat. I'm going to be discussing a really interesting scenario that a lot of people run into, but are not quite totally understanding that they're doing it. Sometimes they do it without realizing it, and it makes a big difference. So I'm going to go ahead and get right into it. So, and if you have any questions, again, be sure and leave them down below. Basically, I just want to check before we get going here. I don't know if we froze up again. Let's see. Yeah, I'm going to say we might have had a little glitch there, but I'm going to go ahead and continue. It looks like we're moving on up, so we will continue. All right, so what really got me thinking about today's subject is I had a situation the other day that I had to get on the phone with technical support for a problem that I had when I upgraded a program that I had on my computer. It was a piece of software, and I have a long-standing joke about not upgrading or updating software when it comes out, because the minute that I do, it always seems like nothing works. Again, if I project that, what happens? You got it. Nothing worked. But I was trying to be good. I was trying to do my update like a good little girl and everything. So, of course, I updated it. It stopped working, and there you have it. So I'm on the phone with technical support, and it was really, really cool because what a lot of the tech support companies do these days is they actually ask you your permission to take over your computer. They run an app that allows them to remote into your computer, and you just kind of sit back and let them do all the work, which I like that. If I'm calling technical support, rather than, it being awkward and saying, go to this screen and click on that and click on that. So that was great. But the one thing right off the bat that I told the guy from tech support is I said, here's what happened. My hard drive is almost totally full. In the middle of this upgrade, I started getting all kind of messages saying that I didn't have enough space and to shut things down and to shut other apps down. So I was like, really dangerously to just sort of pushing my computer over the edge, which is what I do. So pretty much what I thought happened was it was very, very likely that in the process of this upgrade, there was a file that got corrupt and I didn't get a clean download or I didn't get a clean install. And pretty much I just needed him to wipe everything out and, all of the little file spaces that you don't know where they are and things like that, just wipe it all out, start the upgrade over again. Now that I've cleaned up some space off of the hard drive and everything. Well, he heard what I said, but he proceeded to start looking all over the computer to see if he could see what the problem was and what the culprit was. And he noticed that I have a very unique setup on my computer with Dropbox. And Dropbox is file storage like iCloud and everything. And the way that I have my system set up so that I can work on the road from wherever I happen to be is everything is pretty much centrally located in Dropbox, and whatever computer that I'm using, I'm pulling from Dropbox as opposed to pulling from a laptop. Well, this was kind of like a foreign concept to him, which was a little bit odd, but it, really was kind of neither here nor there in my mind because it wasn't relevant to what was going on. Well, the problem is he got it in his head that this is what caused the error that I had when I did the upgrade, and that there was a problem with their software working under those conditions with Dropbox. And I'm trying to tell him that I've had this set up in this scenario for probably 4 or 5 years at least. And with his program and with all the other programs, it works fine, and he wasn't hearing me and saying that all of this was working fine until I did the upgrade. So we kind of went round and round and round and round. And, eventually he came around to the way of thinking that, oh, I think I'm going to take all the files off and take all of the little hidden files and everything, and we'll do a new install. And I was like, okay, thank you. That's a really good idea you have there. Good thinking. And I'm sitting there and I'm going, we're 20 minutes into this and this is what I asked for when we started, but, whatever. Okay, so he did it. It worked. And at the end of this all, he concluded that he was like, yeah, well, that Dropbox is what caused this. And I was like, no, it wasn't what caused this. What caused this is that we didn't get a clean install and a file was corrupt when we did the upgrade. And most likely what caused it was the problem with the fact that the computer got too full and it glitched right at the point of the upgrade. But, he sort of hung up thinking in his mind that all of this problem was Dropbox. I kind of hung up, just being glad to be off the phone, first of all, and glad that my program was working again and everything. But it's kind of a long story, but a scenario that I'm sure that you can relate to, and you can also apply to different things in life and different things that, we're going to talk about today. Because here's the thing. He had a preconceived notion. He got it in his head that A caused B, therefore the result was C. And I want to put out there how dangerous that type of thinking is, because in this particular instance, the only thing that it really resulted in was a lot of extra time on the phone for me. If he had just gotten into it and kind of put aside his bias or his misunderstanding or, him not understanding my setup with Dropbox, if he would have just stopped focusing on that as being the culprit and chasing all the scenarios around that situation, and if he would have just heard what I was explaining and gone directly to the root of the problem, everything would have been done a whole lot quicker. And, in this instance, yes, time is money, and, I sometimes lack patience when people do this to me on the phone, on technical support and things like this. But this particular day, I was just I was doing some other stuff. At one point, while he was looking around, my daughter had an event that night to go to, and we were starting to run late because I was on the phone for so long, but I sat her down in the chair in front of the computer, and I'm like working on curling her hair while he's asking me to hit buttons on the computer. But remember, he had taken over the computer, so he was doing most everything. So I was like, you know what? Lemons, lemonade. I'm going to just make use of this time, work on her hair. And it worked out perfectly. So I had patience. I let him go through, his little cha-cha and everything. He left happy. I left happy. We both got to the end goal. But realistically, it probably took over a half an hour more than it could have. And, that's what happens a lot of times if you have a preconceived notion or you have misinformation about something. You think you're right about something. You think in your mind that that the scenario is this. So you draw a conclusion that if the scenario is this, then this other thing over here won't happen, can't happen, isn't going to go right, whatever the case might be. But in reality, your original starting premise is faulty. So the conclusion that you're drawing is an erroneous conclusion. And it's not based on fact. It's based on a preconceived notion that may or may not be true, or may or may not be something that you are projecting on the situation. So, when I have this discussion with people, a lot of times they'll say, well, I don't really do that. That's not me. Tell me if, for those of you who are watching, put a note in the chat box. Do you feel like you do this? Do you feel like you know anybody who does this? Just let me know. And, we'll see how it comes out here. Because here's the thing. Let's say that you see something advertised on TV for the kitchen that would make your life easier and give you more nutritious eating or help you to prepare meals faster or anything like that. And you're watching it and you're like, yeah, but you know what? All of those things on TV are scams, and I'm not going to call up and give my credit card to somebody over the phone, so I'm not going to do that. Well, is it a faulty premise that all those things on TV are scams? No, it's really not. You look at infomercials, you look at Home Shopping Network, QVC, these people have been around for a long time. They take credit cards all day long. It's safe, it's secure. I've had my credit card compromised, multiple times, and I've rarely ever bought anything, from QVC or Home Shopping Network. But you'll have, a lot of people that are, I'm not going to buy from that, or they'll even say, I'm not going to buy or purchase anything online. Well, I live online. I am like the Amazon queen, and, it's like, I need one thing. I'm like whipping out my credit card going, okay, time to make another Amazon purchase. Like, I think I get probably 2 or 3 Amazon packages a week. I don't know. But you see, you're sitting back, and that's a thought process that you have. You're watching TV, and it's like, oh, this could really help you. But no, I'm not going to do that because all of those things are scams. It's probably never even going to arrive. And if it arrives, it's not going to work the way they say it is because they use smoke and mirrors. And, that pan isn't going to be nonstick, or, that little gadget isn't going to work. It's going to fall apart the minute I touch it. Well, that's making decisions based on false premises, on faulty belief systems, and things that you don't know to be true. And, it can extend to all sides of life, and another one that, you'll hear, and we won't get into relationship issues, but, all men are cheats and liars, so I'm not going to jump back into the dating pool. Well, if you believe that, then you're going to make certain decisions based on that. And if you make those decisions, you may be the person, if you're single and if you're looking and you wish that right person would come into your life, if you have that faulty notion already in your head, chances are the right person is not going to show up because one, you're already projecting that onto the situation, but two, you're also not taking inspired action, or you're not taking steps and saying, I'm going to put myself in a position to meet Mr. Right. Whether, for you that means, you know, going to a church, going to a club, going to, it doesn't matter what, method and, what your style is. But if you avoid doing those things on the premise that all men are XYZ, now we know that, you know, that's a generalization. There's good and bad in everybody. There's good and bad in the world. We've got that established. But if you have that in your head, then that's going to influence the decisions that you make. And the decisions that you're making are based on faulty premises. So, here's another one. I can't lose weight. No matter what I do, no matter what I try, all diets are fads, all diets are scams. They're not going to work for me. So I'm just going to keep eating chocolates because even if I don't, I'm still going to gain weight. There we go again. All diets are not scams. All diets are not fads. In fact, under the right circumstances, if it's based in sound principles of nutrition, even if there's variances on the type of diet or the type of plan, chances are it does work under the right circumstances for the right person and everything. It's just a matter of you finding the one that works for you. So, you see, when you start conjuring up these, what we feel sometimes in our life are a given, it's not, there's no gray area. It's black or white. It's no gray. This is all bad, so I'm not going to do it. Or if I do this, this is going to surely happen. All of these types of things are the things that will stand in the way from your deepest desires and a lot of the things that are in your heart of hearts that you want to accomplish and that you want to put yourself in a position to achieve a goal or make a difference in your life or the lives of others or things like that. The other thing that you get into very, very quickly are sentiments and things around money. All rich people are bad. All rich people will stomp all over the little guy, and therefore, if I am rich or I become rich with this idea that I have or this direction that I want to go, I am then going to be bad, or I am then going to be a changed person. And we know that that's not true. There's just as many nasty poor people that step all over each other. There's just as many poor people that have major medical conditions that money can't solve and money can't buy. That's another one. It's like I can have all the money in the world, but if that isn't going to keep me from getting sick, or rich people get sick and their money can't fix what they have, and that type of thing. And these are tales we tell ourselves, and they're misinformed or erroneous or just plain confusion about things that you don't know about. It's like I will run into I'll have clients that'll tell me, just a prolific writer or somebody who has just had such a rich life experience and is translating it into something really powerful that they want to do online. And the first thing that they'll say to me is, yes, but nobody probably wants to hear what I have to say. There's nobody out there that is buying XYZ product or anything that I have to share about this particular topic or anything like that. Well, they're misinformed because people are out there buying XYZ all day long, and people are out there making a difference in other people's lives by buying XYZ all day long. And that is a huge, huge part of exactly what I help people do, is to realize that there are hundreds of thousands of people out there who are in need of your gifts and your skills and your talents. But if you sit there with a preconceived notion, not being familiar enough about what goes on online or what type of things that the market is interested in or any of those types of things, then you may never put yourself out there. You may never take that chance. You may never step into your own and, give it an opportunity to be able to um, look at that opportunity and take a step out there and take a chance, bet on yourself, have confidence in yourself, and know that there are indeed people who are very, very willing to buy exactly what it is that you want to put together and that you want to offer. And they would line up around the corner if you just have the confidence in yourself and you remove that limiting belief that's telling you that, oh, nobody out there wants anything that I have. Well, they do, and they do it all day long. And you really want to take an opportunity to be able to step into your own, to bring that to the people who need what you have the most. So from that standpoint, um, the real mechanism here for creating change and for battling this scenario head on is to actually um, go ahead and take a look anytime you stop in your tracks from doing something, and analyze what is causing you to stop. What the belief system is, what the idea in your head is that is, kind of sitting on your shoulder saying, no, 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 that's a scam, that doesn't work, this can't happen, this doesn't work for real people, rich people are going to be XYZ, and, all of those types of things. Anytime you're in a situation where you put the brakes on something, whether you get an idea, an opportunity, something that you see, something that, crosses your path, it hasn't crossed your path by accident. And when it crosses your path, if you have that tendency to put the brakes on, examine why. Stop and think to yourself and go, okay, what's this knee-jerk reaction that I'm having to this? And ask yourself, is it valid? Is it possible? Just slightly the most remote possibility that this hard and fast thing that I'm thinking, this is a scam. Is there just that possible small inkling that it might not be? And if you just open through that little path of maybe possible, maybe not be, and try to set aside the misinformation, the bias, whatever you want to call it, and it's a little bit hard because a lot of times we're like, I'm not biased. I don't have misinformation. I know what I know, and I know it to be true, and I know that all rich people are awful. And then you go, well, there's a lot of rich people out there doing a lot of good in this world. And there's a lot of poor people that are pretty awful. So maybe my belief is not quite black or white. There's a middle ground here. Maybe what I'm saying is true to a degree, but by the same token, maybe on the other hand, I'm willing to take a chance and I'm willing to step into this possibility that has crossed my path and look at it from the standpoint that indeed, perhaps I might be right most of the time, but there's that one instance, there's that 1%, there's that 10% versus 90% that it might not be true. And if I move through that portal of possibility instead of closing it off from a knee-jerk reaction, what might be on the other side of that portal of possibility opens up into opportunities, success, or whatever it is that you're seeking. So think about that. If you have any questions, I see we've got quite a number of people online here. If you have any questions, please jump right in, say something in the chat. If you have situations that you want to run by me, or anything that this, really resonates with you, or maybe has hit a hot button and you're going, no, Stephanie, you're wrong. I don't have any misinformation. I know XYZ to be true, and nothing can move me off of that. I bet I could find a way to open up some new possibilities or make you look at it just from a different perspective. It's like, I'm not asking you to change overnight your entire your entire upbringing, your entire world of what your belief system is. But by the same token, if you just meet me halfway and you give me that little opportunity to say, okay, maybe it's not as black and white. Maybe it's a little bit of a gray area. Maybe there is something to this thing that Stephanie's talking about that, my immediate knee-jerk reaction isn't always necessarily 100% set in stone, that maybe there is a little bit of wiggle room in there, and I'm willing to take a chance that maybe things could be different. Something could change, something could open up, and the opportunity could come along. And just give it a chance. Just give it an opportunity, and just take the chance to see how it is for you when you kind of break down those walls, and you give yourself the opportunity to look at things a little bit differently than you normally do, and sit and watch what happens. So please, definitely, if you have any questions, we're about to wrap it up, but as always, if you don't get your question answered here today, you can message me at mulacsites@gmail.com. That information is in the description below. The other information that you want to go take a look at is the link to subscribe and enter the contest and the instructions for that, because we're having a giveaway at the end of the month. I have total confidence that we're going to reach 100 subscribers, and I'm really, really excited to do the giveaway and to give back to you, because again, I can't do this without you. I can sit here and I can talk all day, but if it falls on deaf ears and nobody is listening and nobody cares, then it's all for naught. And I know you care, and I know tons of you are listening, and I can see it by the messages that I get and the feedback and everything that you share with me about the differences that these videos and live streams are making in your life. So that's what propels me. That's what makes me excited to get up every day and hit the ground running. So it's really all about you. It's about the difference that I can make in your life as you head toward your goals and you sculpt out the lifestyle of your dreams. And that's what I'm here for. So please don't hesitate to reach out. Again, make sure that you subscribe and enter the contest, and let's get to that first milestone of 100 subscribers by the end of the month. And keep being you, keep doing what you're doing, and know that you have someone that supports you and believes in you and is always here for you. So this is Stephanie Mulac signing off from Detour Diaries. It's a pleasure as always. Don't be a stranger. Take care.